Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I realize I'm a little late to the party here, but I know a lot of you really enjoy playing competitive. I myself have been enjoying Season 7 a ton more than I enjoyed Season 6 for whatever reason. My placement matches weren't that great, and now I'm in a constant state of very slow climbing, basically because I haven't played anything but support for the longest time, but also because I only played about 6 hours of Season 6. But guess what? It's Season 7, and most people have done their placement matches, but if you're like me, your placement matches didn't get you where you want, and you're looking for some help on getting higher. Well, no matter where you are on the ladder, hero choice is always important, and today we'll be going through 5 of the best heroes you can choose in Season 7. So, let's start with number 5 being Onna. Onna is kind of all over the place when it comes to meta. In Triple Tank, she was super potent and mandatory in a way that she could pump enough healing to keep those tanks alive. After Triple Tank died though, we've been seeing a lot less Onna. She'd occasionally poke her head up here and there and still be a powerful healer, but her heavy damage nerfs combined with seeing a brand new and heavily improved Mercy really dragged her down into the mud as a primary healer. Even though she's had a little bit of a harder past few seasons compared to some other healers, two things are bringing Onna back. First of all, we know that Mercy got a couple of changes that changed her from OP to still a healer that many people still feel is very mandatory to the comp. I think we might still be seeing some Mercy changes in the future that I think won't be looking too positive considering her pick rate and how we're still hearing some complaints about her still being OP. Next, Moira is coming to the scene sometime within the week, and we know that Moira indirectly buffs Onna. Hold on, didn't Onna get a buff, you're probably asking? Well, yes, she got a minor damage buff, and that only helps solidify her place on this list. I could make an entire video on it, but lucky for us all, somebody has already made one. You've probably seen it around, or if you haven't yet, there is a great video made by the Overwatch Central channel outlining the kind of indirect buffs that Moira gives to Onna. It's really about how well they complement each other's healing. In any case, check that out, link in the description, to get a good idea of why Onna should be one of your healer choices. Moving on with hero number 4 being Reaper, and there are several reasons why I recommend picking up Reaper this season, one of which is the fact that D.Va is seeing a lot less play since the end of Dive, and sensor changes turned her more DPS than defensive. When you get up close as Reaper, you're gonna have a pretty fun time, but something that would usually dampen your fun is that ridiculously long defense matrix. There used to be a long time where you'd be almost defenseless while that defense matrix was up. Now that's half as long, and playing Reaper is just a little bit easier. There's also something I'll get into with another hero on this list that makes Reaper all that much better. Let's just say he's a pretty good counter. Another thing that people really take for granted is how well Reaper can break down shields. Now, not as effectively as Junkrat or Roadhog, but for getting through chokes it's still a good option. The next hero at the number 3 spot is going to be Junkrat. Let's start with Junkrat's ability to really punch his way through defenses. Although he's labeled as a defense hero, I think you'll more often see his effectiveness on offensive chokes or on 2CP. I've said it before and I'll see it again. Junkrat is a really big pain to deal with at elos under Diamond. I'd say a lot of Platinum players can have trouble dealing with Junkrat, and it takes a lot of coordination with playing at his weaknesses. For these reasons, it's very viable to play Junkrat if you're looking at ranking up from anywhere like Bronze, Silver, or Gold. If you're getting your way out of Plat, I wouldn't advise getting Comfy because it definitely gets harder to play a solid Junkrat as you get further up. Some of the good things about Junkrat is how powerful he is at choke points. It's all about that ridiculous space denial and how easy it is to load in that extra damage during a team fight. 120 damage per hit is formidable against tanks and squishies alike, not to mention that he's one of the greatest, I suppose you could say, duelists in the game along with Reaper, which is also kind of why he made it onto this list. If you're in Diamond and above, I don't want to leave you ladies and gentlemen out, so instead of Junkrat, there are a lot of solid reasons to pick Soldier 76 instead. A lot of higher play is more reliant on the guaranteed damage output rather than the potential damage output. We all know that the Junkrat choke spam is incredibly powerful, and even in high tiers, I'd still recommend picking him on the first point of Eichenwald, Hanamura, and Temple of Anubis. Soldier, however, is all about, again, guaranteed damage rather than the potential damage output that Junkrat could have. Not to mention that Soldier has a lot further range, and having good accuracy means good value. So that was a little bit of a bonus hero for you, but I'll still be calling this video the best 5 heroes just because it sounds better. Hero number 2 is going to be Winston. Remember when I said that Reaper is going to be good this season? Well, that's because of how good Winston is doing this season. Personally, I can say that some of my greatest games were when I was playing Winston. Picking up some Winston tips and trying him out in the next game is probably a really good idea. Of course, I've already told you that playing his counter is a really good idea, but in reality, Reaper is only on this list because of Winston. Winston stayed alive after the end of Dive because he didn't have any big changes happen to him, and his really good ability to counter Mercy has only made him that much more useful, as Mercy's popularity skyrocketed with her rework. Also, as we're seeing an increase in Onna's popularity, having a strong healer like that to keep you hale and hearty while you hunt down the enemy's Onna is quite potent. At this point, any squishy is a clear target for Winston, and his ultimate is still a really good tool for space and ultimate denial, especially if we're going to be seeing more soldier play as well. If you don't know already, Primal Rage is a really good counter to Tactical Visor, and you can use it to soak up all the damage while keeping your team safe. It can also survive a variety of ults, but also be used aggressively to push your way onto a point or through a choke. It's also a nice little tip to mention that Winston Diva combo is really effective in the top left window of attacking on Hanamura first point. If you're looking for some Winston tips, and I know some of you are at this point, one tip is to melee very frequently throughout your duels. Punching deals an instant 30 damage against armor and conserves ammo so you don't have to reload in your fights, technically upping your DPS. For more tips like this one, there's a fantastic video you can find over at CarQ's channel, where he interviews one of the best Winston players and finds a Winston tip against every hero. Of course, the link to that is also in the description, so be sure to check that out as well. Finally, the hero you've been waiting for. Is it a support, a DPS, or a tank? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is your friendly neighborhood, Lucio. A lot of you are probably confused, like, why Lucio? Isn't Mercy the best support hero right now? Well, I believe that the key to a good competitive attitude and experience is not following the big wavy trends with heroes that could be OP one day and suddenly turn into nerfed hog overnight. I think a healer like Lucio is really well cemented into the game and shouldn't be subjected to any changes in the future. Maybe a few fixes here and there, but as we've already gotten his big rework, it should be fairly stable to pick him up consistently in following seasons. When Mercy is in the same place as him, I'd consider putting her on a future best heroes list. In the meantime, let's talk about how Lucio is the best support right now. Well, first of all, he got a recent change just a couple of weeks ago with his wall riding feeling more natural and allowing him to pick up more momentum as he goes. For someone who loves wall riding, this was a dream come true. When it comes to healing, Lucio isn't the strongest of choices, but he can heal his whole team at once and keep them sustained in long drawn-out fights like we're seeing happen a lot more often than before, with the return of Reinhardt and the rising popularity of Orisa. The next thing is how well he can still peel. Even if he is a support, playing Lucio aggressively is kind of like a self-peel. His boops also get the peel value by protecting his slower teammates like Zenyatta from flankers and divers like Winston and Genji. Finally, it is worth mentioning that his speed boost is still invaluable. Mobilizing a team quickly for a push is still a skill unique to Lucio that no healer or hero for that fact can pull off as effectively without using their own mobility abilities to move themselves. Organizing and executing pushes into chokes and onto points is where Lucio excels, and a good Lucio can even help out with a good amount of the damage. It's not uncommon that you can find yourself with bronze or silver damager elims, and although you might be asking what on earth your DPS are doing, it's still a nice feeling to be part of a good push as a Lucio. Well, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are thinking about the secretly 6 best heroes in Season 7. Of course, I'm just a guy working at his desk in a room. I'm not professional, nor an expert on metas, so if you disagree with anything I said, be sure to let me know in the comments. I'd love to discuss this kind of thing with the community. Speaking of the community, you can find me on Reddit occasionally posting some prompts. I got inspiration for this video and called onto Reddit Overwatch community to help me think of this list, so I'd like to thank you all for giving me your ideas, and any of you interested in contributing to a video coming up in the next few weeks. I posted asking which hero you absolutely hate the most in the game. I've gotten a good number of comments, but I'm looking to get around 50 to 75 before I make the video. The link to that is also in the description if you're looking to contribute. Also, I want to know how your Season 7 is going so far. For me, not so great, but I'm sure I can get myself together soon enough. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, to drop a like. I'd really appreciate the support, and of course, to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. And be sure to hit the bell icon to join the notification squad, and keep up to date when the next video comes out. This is Carter signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day.